Someone asked, why are they stuck with just the conceptual understanding of non-duality? How come it hasn't become experiential for them? And I'm seeing that this is actually very common. And now working with people and guiding them on this journey, I'm seeing where the difference is in terms of the apparent seeker on the journey is really trying to use the mind to go all the way. And it's not possible. So let's take this path of self-inquiry. And for many, this path really starts with this neti approach, which is essentially it's a way of exclusion. So you're excluding what you're not. I'm not my name. I'm not my role. I'm not my job. I'm not my character traits. I'm not my personality. I'm not my body. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my feelings. So like this, it's this exclusion. Excluding all of the objective content. Right? It's this discriminating. It's using this discernment. It's using the intellect, this ability to discern, where the intellect becomes very sharp and it's as if it's cutting. Becoming very sharp and cutting. And as you're going through the process, you're moving from gross to subtle. So as you move from gross to subtle, the intellect must become even sharper to discern what you are not. But it can't take you all the way. It can't take you to the full realization. That process can take one to the realization of the formless essence. But it's only with the heart that you go the full circle. And if we say that this first process is this exclusion, then we can say this second phase or stage is now a way of inclusion. That now everything that was excluded is now being included. Everything that was rejected is now being accepted. It's this total embrace. And this is the realization of love. This is the experience of love. the oneness, the one reality that you are. That love is all-inclusive. Love embraces all. So this first stage, it's as if it's really this masculine way of using the mind. And then this second stage is more of the feminine way. The way of the heart. That there was this exclusion and now there's the inclusion. So it's very easy to watch videos and read about this and start with the mind and almost, you could say, trying to go all the way with just the mind, the intellect. But where the intellect stops is where I don't want to say that's where the heart begins because that wouldn't be true, but it's love is beyond the mind. So you can't go all the way with just the mind. Using this reasoning, the logic, can only get you so far. Love is beyond reason, beyond logic. Love is without reason, without logic. The mind knows nothing of love. It can't know love. It's never known love. So you can't use the mind to know the heart. This is where this path of self-inquiry seems to start merging with the path of devotion. The path of knowledge seems to merge with the path of love. Now, from some earlier stages of the journey, they look like two separate paths. But as you progress, you start seeing that they're actually one and the same. That they're not really separate. It's as if they only appear to be separate earlier on in the path. But as you progress through each path, if you start with the path of devotion, then you start noticing that it's actually, it merges, it meets. And you're experiencing self-inquiry. And vice versa. If you start with self-inquiry, you start noticing that it's merging with this path of devotion, this path of knowledge and this path of love are actually one and the same. But early on in the path, it doesn't really feel like that. This path of going to God, sort of say, this masculine approach, I'm coming to you, is experienced through the path of self-inquiry. But the path of devotion, the path of surrender, it's as if God is coming to you. So in this sense, you can see that it's one's more masculine, one's more feminine. But there is the experience that actually they're one and the same. There's the union. That wisdom is love. So this is one of the reasons why I don't focus entirely on one or the other. It's both. It's both. But a very common it's not a mistake, it's not an error. There's just you could say the common way to go about it is to try and go all the way with the mind, as if you start with the mind and you're trying to go all the way. But the experience is that if you are starting with the mind, that the heart must open. That there's the experience of almost feeling like you've dropped down into the heart. Of course, that's symbolic and metaphorical, but it would just feel like you're just more open. That you're now experiencing that your mind is open and your heart is open. But thinking that you're going to get there intellectually then becomes the obstacle. We see that we're trying to mentally get there. And all of this mental gymnastics is actually a distraction. It's actually more of an avoidance of feeling. So we see this one is more this thinking, and then we see that the other path is more of a feeling. So it needs both this thinking and feeling. That we can't get there entirely through thinking. And when we start through the thinking and it's entirely conceptual, and now there's just this mental gymnastics and reading and watching and collecting more knowledge and quotes and more knowledge and all of this. To anyone, it might look like you know what you're talking about, but it's entirely conceptual. Experientially, there's just no experience. But all of this thinking, this overthinking, is really a result of underfeeling. There's this imbalance of the thinking and the feeling. There's too much value being given to the thinking. And it becomes a way of distraction and avoidance from feeling. And it's this feeling the emotions and feeling everything. That's the way of the heart. The way of surrender. So as there's the progress of the paths, it's as if there's this ripening, this readiness, this openness of both open mind and open heart. So what's the holdback is thinking that you're going to go all the way with just the mind, being lost in all the thinking, and now it becomes more of this compulsive thinking where the seeking energy is so immersed in thinking. Just one more video, one more book, one more retreat. Whereas the balance is, well, there's some thinking and there's feeling, not to avoid those feelings, not to reject those feelings. And you don't have to go searching for these feelings. They're right here. So it's just this opening up to the feelings that have been suppressed, that you've been hiding from, that you've been distracted from. And then you start experiencing that actually there's now a balance of this thinking and feeling. There's a balance of the love and wisdom. There's a balance of the masculine and feminine. There's a balance of the mind and the heart. So nothing is excluded. Everything is included. It's all inclusive. To go full circle. It's this balance. That it requires that love. Requires the heart to be open. That this love is the oneness. It's the one. It's the unity. And experiencing that love is wisdom. The wisdom is the love, and the love is the wisdom. It's not an intellectual understanding. It's an experiential understanding. Because in truth, you are love and you are understanding. Love is not something you do, it's what you are. Understanding is not something you have, it's what you are. Hopefully this helps. See you in the next one.